Hello students, a warm welcome for you to the class of standard 10th. Today I am going to explain you the second part of your syllabus, that is of 10th standard, first language, second part. So here unit number here is 6. So the chapter states, "The eyes are not here," which is written by a famous Indian writer, Ruskin Bond. You may be very much astonished to listen about the heading of the chapter, "The eyes are not here." No doubt this is a very interesting chapter which explains about those personalities who, after facing a number of problems in their life, they are not ready to accept their condition with resignation. The same thing we are going to learn in this chapter, "The eyes are not here." Before going for the explanation of the chapter, I like to introduce you about the famous writer, author, that is Ruskin Bond. So, you may be knowing about Ruskin Bond, who is considered as one of the finest storytellers in English in India. He is a very good storyteller. But the fact is that we will understand the story and whatever the tragedy may be and whatever the comedy of the story, we will understand at the end of the story. We won't get the idea either in the beginning or in the middle, but we get the idea at the end of the story. This is the speciality of the writer Ruskin Bond. So, this great storyteller, he was born in India. Name of the place where he took birth is Kasauli. He was born in the year 1934. No doubt he has written a number of novels, short stories, and even books for the children. The very important thing about this writer is that he has written short stories. Novels, no doubt, they may be very big, whereas short stories, especially for the children, he has written some of the books by which children get inspiration, children get a good environment, children also understand through the stories some of the morals. So, this great writer, because he has written a number of novels, because he has written a number of short stories, and the very important thing about this writer is that he has written books for children. So, he was awarded Padma Shri in the year 1999 for his contribution to children's literature, because children play a very important role. Children's role is very important. When we see the stages in the life of human beings, the very good and interesting stage here is the children's life. So, and we also come to know, you may be knowing, there are many proverbs regarding the students or children's. It is said that students' life is a golden life. Why? The reason here is that because in this stage they get a number of environments to participate, to chit chat, to mingle with the people, to understand what is going on here and there. So, all these things, the children's life, they take a number of advantages, because this great writer Ruskin Bond has written a number of things especially for the children. In the year 1999, he was awarded with Padma Shri Award. The Room on the Roof, written when he was 17, won the John Llewellyn Rhys Memorial Prize in the year 1957. He was born in the year 1934. When he was just 17 years, see, according to him, see, now you are nearly 15 to 16 years, okay. So just maybe elder than you, 2 years elder or 3 years. So at the age of 17, this great writer, he wrote a book named The Room on the Roof. The Room on the Roof. So because of this contribution in the English literature, at the age of 17, he won the John Llewellyn Rice Memorial Prize in the year 1957. Many of his stories are based on Mussoorie at the foothills of Himalayas where he lives. So, as we already know, we came to know he is a born Indian and he lives by the side of the Himalayas. So, whatever he has written stories, he has constructed the stories, maybe the novels, maybe the short stories or books for children. He has he has taken the help of Mussoorie, name of a place here, because he lives by the side of there. The present chapter, that is, the eyes are not here. This is one of the best contribution of Ruskin Bond. He has also written Astrologer's Day. Very interesting story, Astrologer's Day. I think in standard 9th you may have studied about that. That also belongs to Ruskin Bond itself. And here in this story, we are observing a picture where two personalities are sitting. On one side, we are observing a youth, another youth, a young boy. Youths are, they are the youths. And on another side, we are observing a good lady who is sitting there. They are sitting in a railway compartment. So, let us go through what's hidden in this chapter. Before that, the pre-reading activity is given. What is there in the pre-reading activity? Let us notice. Generally, we notice the physically challenged leading a normal life. Do the physically challenged accept their condition with resignation? Discuss in pairs. As you know, the classes are going on in online. If we were in the offline classes, we could have discussed here, and this is only one way, so it is very difficult for us to discuss the matters here. So whatever the matter may be, already you have adjusted for the online classes. So especially some people who are physically challenged, they try to lead a normal life. They are not at all ready to accept their conditions. Why? Because they don't like to show their weakness. That's the main theme here. Coming to the first paragraph of the story, what it states, I will go through you nearly 5 paragraphs and later I am going to explain you. So, observe in your textbook, second part, unit number 6, page number 1. I had the compartment to myself up to Rohana, and then a girl got in. The couple who saw her off were probably her parents. They seemed very anxious about her comfort, and the woman gave the girl detailed instruction as to where to keep her things, when not to lean out of the window, and how to avoid speaking to strangers. They said their goodbyes. The train pulled out of the station. As I was totally blind at the time, my eyes sensitively only to light and darkness, I was unable to tell what the girl looked like, but I knew she wore slippers from the way they slapped against her knees. It would take me some time to discover something about her looks, and perhaps I never would. But I liked the sound of her voice and even the sound of her slippers. Are you going all the way to Dehra? I asked. I must have been sitting in a dark corner because my voice stalled her. She gave a little exclamation and said, I did not know anyone else was here. Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. They have too much to take in, I suppose. Whereas people who cannot see or see very little have to take in only the essentials, whatever registers most tellingly on the remaining senses. I did not see you either, I said, but I heard you come in. I wonder if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. I thought, provided I keep to my seat, it should not be too difficult. The girl said, I am getting down at Shahranpur. My aunt is meeting there. Then I had better not to be too familiar. I said, aunts are usually formidable creatures. Where are you going? She asked. Okay, let us come back to the first paragraph, first stanza of the chapter. See here, the writer itself is the speaker here. I had the compartment to myself up to Rohana and then a girl got in. The meaning of this sentence states that this personality, the writer himself is the actor here. He is saying that I was in the compartment, I was in the rail. So at that I was going to Rohana, a name of a place here. I was going to myself up to Rohana, and then a girl got in, and suddenly what happened? In that the train stopped after some distance at one of the station, and there a girl also came inside the compartment, and the couples, husband and wife, came, and as if they were the parents. He thought that they may be the parents because they were what they were doing? They were explaining her how to sit comfortably, and also the woman who had come with that lady, with that girl, what she was doing, she was explaining that, she was giving instruction how to keep her things there, and she should not see outside from the window, lean out, that is she should not peep through the window, something may happen, dangerous situations may come forward. So all these things she was explaining, and by the by, the woman also explained the girl that she should avoid speaking to strangers. Strangers means unknown persons. Okay. So she was also explaining that you should not speak for the unknown persons because sometimes it may lead us to the dangerous situations. All these things she was explaining. And at last the train was setting off, so they said goodbye, and within some time the train pulled off the station, that is it left the station. As the train was moving slowly, the man who was sitting inside, he is saying that the writer, the storyteller is explaining that I was totally blind at the time, that he was totally blind. He had no good eyesight. My eyes sensitive only to light and darkness. See, his eyesight was very poor, so poor that he was unable to tell what the girl looked like. He did not know how was the personality of the girl here. He was not at all knowing. So what he did here, he was not knowing how was the girl because he did not had good eyesight. And but though he did not had good eyesight, his listening power was very sharp. See, his listening power was very sharp. What he is saying? but I knew she wore slippers from the way they slapped against her heels. See, he's saying that the way she was entering inside, the sound of the slippers made him to understand that a girl was entering into the compartment. So this took him some time to discover something about her looks, and perhaps I never would. I liked the sound of her voice, see, though he is a blind man, totally blind person he was. He did not had eyesight. Only his eyes are so sensitive that only to light and darkness they were hardly doing their work. This man, the writer here is saying that I liked, because the girl was speaking to the guardians who had maybe parents who had come to left her up to the train. They were speaking, and the woman who came with her, she was explaining how she must have to live in the train, how she must have to avoid speaking for the strangers, how she must have to keep the things. So all these things she was explaining, and at that time this girl, she was answering for those personalities. And after listening to the sound of those people, this person says that the totally blind person who was sitting, whom we are observing in the picture, is saying that I liked the sound of her voice. Her voice was very sweet. She was speaking in a very good manner. She was a well disciplined girl. And even the sound of her slippers, I mean to say that she was walking very neatly. We may be observing some people who are very rough in nature, who are very rude in nature. Even in their walk, they show some cruel attitudes. But this here, though he is a blind man, he is explaining that the voice of the lady and the way the sound of her slippers came, both attracted me. I liked both these things. So what he did, he started speaking for the girl here, because now the train is off, it is setting off, it is moving. Neither the aunt is there, neither the parents are there, no one is there, neither that woman was there who had guided her, no one was there. So this man who was blind, totally blind, he started speaking to the girl here. He is asking, are you going all the way to Dehra? I asked. See, he understood that the girl came and sat in front of him. So he started asking question, are you going all the way to Dehra? Are you going to Dehra? It's a place near the Himalayan mountains. I asked. I must have been sitting in a dark corner because my wife startled her. Startled means surprised her. This fellow himself is thinking like that. I must be sitting in a dark corner. The place where I was sitting, no, I think because he is blind, no, he is not understanding what type of environment is there, what type of surroundings are there by the side of him. So he is thinking that the girl had not seen me. So he thinks himself that maybe I may be sitting in a dark corner, because when I spoke to her, my voice startled her. That is, startled means surprised her. She gave a little exclamation and said, I did not know anyone else was here. See how she answered, oh, I thought that no one was there in this compartment. Where are you sitting? In this way she spoke to the man here. Well, what that person is saying, see, he is a blind man. Though he is a blind man, he is not saying that I am blind, I cannot see you, I am sitting in a corner. He did not say all this. This states us that by this we understand that these people who are physically challenged, they like to lead a normal life. They does not like to show their conditions. They don't like to accept the conditions with resignations. No. So is not ready to explain in front of the girl. So what he says, well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. See, he is saying that See, some people are there whose eyesight is not good. But people with good eyesight also sometimes fail to see. They too sometimes unable to see what is there right in front of them. The same thing has happened with you. He is explaining for the girl. They have too much to take in, I suppose. Whereas people who cannot see or see very little have to take in only the essential, whatever registers more tellingly on the remaining senses. See very neatly, as if he is having a good sight. As if he is having a good sight, he is explaining in that manner for the girl who is there in front of him. At that time, after listening so much explanation, the girl answers, I did not see you either. I said, but I heard you come in. After the girl answers, first he quotes some points, later the girl answers, once again he explains all these things, later the girl answers. Now once again he is saying, see, people are like this, and sometimes though they are having good eyesight, they are unable to see what's there right in front of them. And later he also says, I did not see you either. See the meaning. What it states, I did not see you either. I said, I here means the writer, the man who is not having proper eyesight, who is a blind man here. He is saying for the girl, means he is not ready to say what is the demerit with him, what is the disability with him. He is not ready to explain in front of that girl. He is saying that I did not see you either. I too did not see you. The girl said, I did not see you. I think you may be in the dark corner for this. This man is saying that I did not see you either. I said, but I heard you come in. He is also saying that I heard the sleeper sound. Already he is told in the second paragraph, stanza of the chapter, that I liked the sound of her voice and even the sound of her slippers. By this we come to know that he had heard the voice of the slippers. So he says that, I heard you coming. I wondered if you don't be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. See, he is not ready to explain that I was blind, and also he thinks that the man who was blind, he thinks that this girl also had not understood me, that I am a blind man. He thinks like this, she has not understood me, she has not seen me, she is speaking to me as if I am a man with good eyesight. I thought, provided I keep to my seat, it should not be too difficult. So he thinks that I am safer here, I must not move from here. After a long discussion, the girl says, I am getting down to Shahranpur. My aunt is meeting me there. See, the girl is saying, yes, I am getting down, means I am stopping. Where? At Shahranpur. My station is that, my destination. I am going to Shahranpur. And there, my aunt is meeting me there. She is coming to pick me. So, all these things she explains. Let us continue in the next class what's going to happen with them.